Hey guys, welcome back to my Animal Adventures YouTube channel, and in this episode I want to introduce you to my new frog. And if you guys have been watching my videos, you know I've been really getting into the frogs lately. This is actually my 6th frog, and the first 5 were Pac-Mans. This one happens to be a Pixie frog. So let me tell you about the Pixie frog, and let me show you my new pickup. Okay, so I just picked up this frog today. Haven't even taken it out of the enclosure yet. And look at how tiny this little guy is. He's a little tiny guy. And believe it or not, a Pixie frog is from Africa. It's also called the giant African bullfrog. And this frog, it's the second largest frog in the world. This one I'd say is probably not even a month old. It's really small. And this thing will get really big. They get up to 4 pounds, up to 10 inches across. And the females can lay up to 4,000 eggs, which is pretty incredible. So the interesting thing about this frog is when I was bringing it home, I held it up and I looked at it, and that frog, you could tell it's a really intelligent frog, and I'd move it back and forth, and it would look at me and kind of tilt its head a little bit like it was trying to figure me out. And that's, let me tell you, that's the smartest frog that I have ever seen. It's pretty incredible. And the Pac-Mans, they're pretty, I don't know if they're that smart or if they're just indifferent. They don't really check you out as intense as this frog. And let me show you kind of the setup. I'm changing my whole setup for my frogs. And when I started, I was keeping them in my snake rack tubs here. And what I've actually decided to do is I set up this little, I purchased this little wire shelf on wheels. And I pulled out some of my aquariums. These all need to be cleaned. They're just sitting in my garage. I have a whole bunch of aquariums that, most of these I just use to transport rodents. And they're really not being used that much. And one of them I prepared, got it all ready for this little frog here. So this is kind of the setup I'm thinking of. Is it has a little pop here. You have to use 2 hands to open up the top. But what I'm thinking is putting Eco Earth on the bottom, and I soaked it and squeezed it out, and then I put sphagnum moss over on one side. And I was reading about these Pixie frogs, and I didn't really know anything about them, except that they got really big, and they're apparently they're more active than a Pac-Man, and they really appreciate water, apparently. They're more of a water-dwelling frog versus the Pac-Man. With the Pac-Mans, some people say the Pac-Mans don't even really need water at all, and a lot of the websites say that the Pixie frogs actually prefer to be in water almost full time, and you're supposed to give them some water that they can bathe in, and then kind of a dry side that they can get up. They're also a burrowing frog, similar to the Pac-Man, so you might lose your frog in the substrate for a while. So if you're just joining my channel and you haven't seen my previous videos about my frogs, let me show you these guys. Let me pull this rack out, and it's a good thing these racks are on wheels, because I could just move them around really easy. And I have 4 frogs over here. I'm definitely going to move these guys over to aquariums. And I have these little albino Pac-Mans. I have 2 of these little albinos. And I kind of like the enclosure and the setup here, but the only thing is I can't really see them, so I don't really know, you know, if they're doing okay or not, and they don't really see me on a regular basis. So I think it would be better to actually put them in aquariums, and then I can kind of check on them without having to pull the tubs open, and they can kind of get used to seeing me. So I have another big green Pac-Man in this tub over here, and he's doing pretty good. He's kind of in the dark though in this tub. I was thinking about getting a lighter tub, and I think I'm just going to put him in an aquarium. The other thing is I definitely want my tubs back for my snake rack, because I have some of my holdbacks down in my hatchling tubs, and I think I really need them over here in these bigger tubs. So the other thing I want to do is move these mealworms out of these tubs, and I actually split these mealworms into 4 tubs just to kind of check them out. Actually, I split them up into 5 tubs, and some of them have little beetles running around. I've been pulling the beetles out and putting them up here in this tub. So there's a few more beetles up here, and it's funny, the beetles tend to kind of hide under the oatmeal. And the only thing I don't like about this is that I have to put carrots in here. And it's funny, they kind of bury the carrots. And with 4 tubs, that means I have 4 carrots, actually 5 tubs. So I'm going through a lot of carrots just between them all. And I'm thinking of actually putting all the mealworms in 1 tub, so I can just put 1 or 2 carrots on top, and I won't go through so many carrots. So the other thing I picked up today is a little container full of superworms, and supposedly the superworms are supposed to be larger than the mealworms, but take a look at this. These are my mealworms. These are full-size mealworms, and then these are the superworms, and to me they almost look the same size, unless these superworms are going to get a little bit bigger. But I thought it was interesting comparing them to my mealworms that they almost look like the same size. So I actually have 6 aquariums here for my 6 frogs. I have another one down here. I'm going to actually put my little roach colony in there to raise the dubia roaches, and I have 1 more shelf on the bottom. I'm thinking I could get 3 more tanks, which would give me room for 3 more frogs. So this new frog is supposed to have a really crazy appetite, and I want to see if he'll eat right off the bat, even though he's kind of freaked out. Maybe, maybe not. He might not used to be... Oh, there he goes. Yep, he definitely likes those superworms. That was a superworm. Alright, I'm going to see if he'll eat another superworm. His eyes definitely lit up on that one. Maybe, maybe. He wants it. Come on, buddy. There he goes. That is a big worm for that frog. Alright, so as far as what I've heard on the internet, these frogs can eat like crazy and they'll grow like a rocket. Within a year and a half or 2 years, that frog is going to be almost 4 pounds, which is pretty incredible. The females get a little bit smaller, and it's weird. The males on this one get larger, almost twice as big as the females, which is completely opposite in the Pac-Man. And I thought that was kind of interesting that the males actually get bigger in this case. And these frogs actually can live for 30 years, which is pretty incredible too. So I thought I'd give you an update on my new frog and take you along for the ride. I'm in the market for 3 more frogs, and hopefully in the near future we'll be breeding some frogs and hatching out some tadpoles. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.